getting a blueprint from the sign up page, we just need the email and the password. So what we will do is go to our folder, my chat, and I'm going to get the login page. So these are the only pages we're going to have here. There's API, index, login, and sign up. So let's grab the login page here, and let's come down. So I'm going to remove everything here, like for example gender, and I don't use username, I need the email. And then here I'm going to leave only one slot for the password. So let's refresh, and there we go. And then we are going to change it to login at the top here. Pretty awesome. Let's refresh, and good. So, and then we will change this thing to login, the sign up button. We will, however, leave the name as sign up button. It doesn't matter because, or possibly we can simply do a find and say find all, or let me say Control H, find all, and replace with login. That way the next time we are going through our code, it will be very specific what's going on. Alright, so everywhere it's been changed to login button, including even down here. Alright, so this is very good. Now we're going to collect the data. We will leave all these functions that we used in the sign up. They are very valid, no need to remove them. The only thing we're going to do is remove all these cases because we don't have username anymore, and we don't have gender anymore, and we don't have password 2 anymore. So we just need these two on the switch. And then let's come down here where we send data. So once everything is done, we are sent to the index.php page, which is fine. And if there's an error, we receive that error up there, and everything else looks good. Now the only difference we're going to change here is that the type of data we're going to be sending. Where is the send data? Where is that? Because you see there's type here, so instead of send data there to sign up, it's going to be login, like so. And actually that's pretty much it that we have to change here. Everything else remains the same. Let me come back here. So if I hit sign up now, oh actually there's one more thing. Let me refresh here. It says login. There's that part where it changes back to login, so it should be login here after the result. Login once we disable the button. So if I hit that, the result is undefined. Now that's undefined because we haven't set it up to give us any errors. So what we will do now is to go to our API.php. Okay, so as you remember very well, there's this sign up section here, which we included this sign up page. Okay, so we have this one as well here. I will move this a little bit this way, so that it's else if one line like so. So what I will do is duplicate this one and put one of those down there. Very good. And then I'll get this one, copy and paste here, and this one will be changed to login. Okay, and that's what I will do here, login as well. So when the data type is login, we will include the login file. So what we will do now is simply go here to the includes and copy and paste the signup.php and just change it to login, because most of the things will be pretty much the same. Now since info is already declared there, we don't need to declare it here, but it's okay, we can leave it like that. So let's come back here, and we don't actually need to validate any of this data. So all we have to do is, we don't need to create the date So we'll remove that. Okay, and we don't need to, we're just going to say validate info. So we'll collect this one, delete everything here, we'll collect it. We don't need the username actually, so that goes. We just leave the email, delete all that, and we'll leave the password as well, delete all that. So email there, password there, and then if we don't have any errors, we are going to read from the database, and then these will be the results. So everything else remains the same pretty much. Now the only thing we're going to change is the query, of course. So we're going to say select all from users where email is equal to, and then we'll put our full colon there because we're using prepared statements, and we'll say email. We'll say limit 1. And then instead of database write, we're going to say database read, and then this will be the result. And then when we get the result, we compare the passwords. So we're going to say result, since result is going to return an array of objects, so we're going to say result is equal to result 0. We just want the first result. Okay, so here now we check if everything is correct. So we're going to say if result password is equal to, or just to double equal sign, we want to compare if it's equal to this password here from the object, like this. If those two are the same, since we've already found one with that email, and if the passwords are the same, then we are good to go. If not, we do an else statement. We're going to have an error instead. So wrong password, like so. And this one is an error. It's not an info, it's an error. And then we'll echo that. Oops, what is this here? This is not supposed to be here. Okay. So now if, what is this one? If result, we're just going to say an error occurred or something. Oh, wait a minute. This result means no result was found. Actually, what we're supposed to check is if this is an array. So we're going to say if is underscore array result, because the result will be an array if we find something. So if we don't find something, then we're going to say wrong email error. And what's this else about? Let's go back here. If error, here we're just going to say an error occurred. An error occurred. Oh, actually we leave it at error because here it means the error is not empty here. Okay, pretty good. Alright, so far so good. Everything is fine. Email is there. So data, actually we don't need the password here. So what I'm going to say is I'm just going to remove that. We just need the email to read from there, and that's it. So now what we want to do is, because we don't have this database db read function, we have to go to db database.php in the classes, and then we're just going to copy this one, write to database. So I will make some space here and duplicate this. Instead we're going to say read read from database. Okay, so the formula is the same, query, everything like that. The only difference now is if, let me actually change this to result. If there's actually a result, or maybe just check like that for now. If there's actually a result, we have to read from it. So that's what we want to do. Now, to read this, we need our result to be an object. So we have to keep that in mind, that the result should be an object. Okay, so after the execution here, we come down here where everything is true. So instead of returning true, we want to return our result. So what we want to do is say result. Let's create a value called result. Let me zoom in. Result is equal to statement, good, fetch. Now we want it to fetch everything that has been returned. So we're just going to say fetch all, like this, fetch all. And then since we are using PDO, we're just going to say PDO, like so, fetch obj, and that's it. So when we do this double colon means we're accessing a function inside the PDO class without having to create an instance of PDO. So this is simply means, this is similar to doing this, like so, but I've never actually done that before, so I will simply use what I know. That's PDO, fetch object. Now if you want to fetch an array instead of an object, you're just going to use fetch array, like this, or you can fetch an associative array, which is ASOC, like that, but we want an object, so we're just going to say fetch object, like this, so it will get all the results. And now if the results, if the result is actually an array, we check that again, and we make sure that count, just to make sure, because it could come up back as an empty array, so we want to make sure that if the result count, which is the number of locations or items in the array, is greater than 0, then we are good to go. So what do we do now? We return the result. So let's return the result. Return result. And if something else happens here, we're going to return a false. Okay, pretty much done. So as you can see, we check if the statement executed correctly, because this one will be either 0 or 1, or true or false. And then if that happened, we do a result and get everything from the result. Check again if the result is actually legit, and then we return the result. So we'll change this to read, of course, otherwise we'll get an error that we have duplicate functions. Okay, so there we go. That does it for the database.php. So now what I want to do is go back to my index page and try some gibberish and log in. Okay, something is wrong here. Let me go back to the console. So there's no error here, so which means our issues are stemming from the other side. Okay, now I think the reason is because, okay, wait, I'm including the login.php page. So what I could do is go to the login.php. Where is this? All right, the one from the includes. And I simply want to echo something. Where is this? Just for me to see that it actually gets to that point. So let me get the result. Let me refresh. undefined. I'm still getting the undefined, which is not good. So let's come back here. What's happening? Okay, let me go back to the login.php with the user interface, and let me make sure that I am sending the correct data. So when sending the data here, we are adding data type. That's cool. And where is the data type? The data type is login. So let me come back here, and that is login. Let me change this to login as well. Okay, so what's happening here? I do not know. Let me come back here. Where is this? Okay, so the best way to understand this is to go to the login page, and where the result is coming from, this is handle result right here. Let's check what's going on here. Okay, so it's saying if data type is equal to info index.php. Okay, that's cool. Do we actually have that? We don't have the result. So what we want to do is let me alert myself to the result so that I can see what's actually in there. Oops. Yeah, I copied too many of these. So let's see what result we get. Okay, let me refresh the page. Okay, so logged in is equal to false. That's what we are getting here. Now this is very important because we are already at the login page, so we shouldn't be doing this kind of thing. So let me go to the API here. So that's where the issue is. So I can remove this one from the login.api side. So here we are checking to see if the user ID is set, but we shouldn't check for this if the page is login.php. Okay, so in order to do that, we have to check for this right here. So let me paste that right there. So what we're checking for here is that if this data object data type is set and the data type is equal to login, which means we are at the login page right now, we should not do this. So we only do this if this is an else statement. So in order to negate this, let me bring everything up in here. So we wanted to do the opposite of what's happening here. So what I'm going to do is put everything in another set of brackets like this, and then put an exclamation mark in between there to negate everything so that we go through this here. So let me come back and question that again. Okay, let's do it this way. Let me remove that, and let's say not equal to login. Okay, something like this, because this is set almost every time, so that's why it wasn't passing through here. This should solve the problem, so let's do that again. Okay, there we go. Syntax error, unexpected on line 27. So let's come back here. Oops, I forgot to check which page that is. Let me refresh it. It's the login.php and includes. So login.php includes on line 27. Alright, so here we didn't put our semicolon, but otherwise that should be it. Okay, so refresh. So message, wrong email, data type, error, and there we go. Okay, so we are back in business. So let me go to login.php and remove this alert here, which I was trying to see if there's an error there. So refresh again. Wrong email. So let's try a real email here. Wrong password. Okay, we should also check for empty. I should have left that part out, that part in where it checks if the email is empty or not. So what I can do is say if not empty, or let me just say if empty, data email. Yep, if that is empty, then we'll add an error. Please enter a valid email. And let me do the same thing to the password. Like that. So if any of these is empty, we're going to see that please enter a valid password, and so on. All right, so let's see what happens here. Now let me come back here. One more thing we have to do, login.php in includes. So if this becomes correct, what we do now is we assign, otherwise we'll have a continuous loop. We assign this session user ID to the user ID of the user. So let's come back here where the password is correct. So we're going to say session user ID is equal to result user ID, and that's it. So let's see if we can actually what was our password in here? Password is password, so password, login, oops, what's happening? So syntax error, unexpected, end of file. Okay, what this means is that we've received an empty, we didn't receive any information here. So what we will do is copy what's here and put it there. You are successfully logged in. And then what we'll do is this will be info, just like that. Okay, so let's refresh and log in. Okay, password. Okay, there we go. Oh, did I actually log in with the wrong password? Password, wrong password. Okay, all right, so everything is working fine so far. That is good. We are able now to log in. So let's recap a little bit how this thing is actually working so far. So if at any point some data needs to be accessed from the API.php here, if it needs to be accessed and then we end up finding out that the user ID in the session is not set, we'll redirect the user to the login page. Okay, we'll just we'll send the result that logged in is false, and then if we are on any other page, we'll be redirected to the login page, and then the login page will also check for the same thing, and once everything is good, we'll be redirected to the index page. All right, so I will see you in the next video where we do some more exciting stuff. This was a little bit long, but at least now we can read some data from there. So I'm going to show you how to do that so that we can replace the data that is here. See you in the next